Here's my little stairway. I put just enough tape to hold it in place. I made some smaller pieces of tape there, and I am going to unify it using strips of paper. I'm using paper that's a different color, and the reason I'm going to do that is that if I make it the same color, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. The paper has a grain. That means if I tear it one direction, it doesn't tear straight. If I tear it the other direction, it tears very straight. The glue that I'm going to dip it in is called art paste. It's a powder. I mix it in a blender, and it has no color, has no flavor. Don't taste it just to check me out here. It has no odor. It is designed to be just sticky, and that is certainly what it is, very sticky. Here's my fingertips. I take the end, and I get just my fingertip in there. I've put a little glue here and a little glue there. I take my other hand, and I use my fingers like a squeegee, and I spread the glue evenly. Any extra glue I need to scrape off, because extra glue is going to make my sculpture weak. I want it evenly wet. I don't want to have any dry spots, but I also don't want to have any drips. And I want to cover the tape. I want to cover the cardboard. I especially want to cover the seams so it'll stay strong. So here's a seam. A seam means a place where they come together. I want to get it as smooth as I can. If I go to a place that has a curve or it's a very tiny place, then I need to make my pieces of paper smaller as well so they don't get wrinkled. Wrinkles are the enemy of paper mache. They make it so it's not as strong as it could be. We're going to cover the whole surface. We want to be careful that we don't get our sculpture very, very wet, because if we get our sculpture very, very wet, it's going to warp. It's going to lose its shape. I dipped it in. I scraped off the extra. I scraped the extra off my hands. None of those are optional. You do have to get the top of it wet. You do have to evenly work the glue down. And you do have to scrape the extra off your hands. You can't skip that step, because if you do, then there's going to get too much glue on your sculpture. Keep covering. Here's a little teeny piece to be covered, and so I use a little teeny piece of paper. I want all of the tape to get covered. You only have to do one layer. You don't have to do, sometimes when we do paper mache, we need to make it strong, but it's already strong enough because we made it out of cardboard. Dip it, scrape your hand. I don't have any glue on the top of my hand. I don't have any glue anywhere other than on the strip of paper. Dip it, scrape my hand. You can see the glue going down the side. And I want especially the seams to get covered. It's going to be very tempting to keep covering the flat part, but the flat part is not weak. It's the seams that are weak. Again, the seams are the places where two parts come together. And here is one side of my staircase covered. I would show you more, but I think you get the idea.